In an article for Save My Scent, Milos Georgievic reports that in 2019, the beauty industry was worth $530 billion. And in 2020, the makeup industry alone was worth $145.3 billion, which is a lot of people buying makeup. And it's very obvious that people nowadays are very concerned with beauty in many different forms. And everybody in here knows at least one person who wears makeup. So why not learn a little bit about it? So my speech will cover a brief history of makeup. It will talk about makeup throughout the ages, and I'll do a short tutorial on how I typically do my eye makeup. So in an article, the Britannica talks about how makeup can be tracked all the way back to ancient Egypt about 6,000 years ago, and that it was even mentioned in the Bible a few times. But throughout history, the public's opinion on makeup has been constantly changing. At times, it was a symbol of wealth, status, and power, like it was in ancient Egypt, but other times it was a symbol for those you might call the morally degenerate, like in ancient Greece or in England in the 1800s. The Britannica also talks about how while makeup was looked down upon during certain times, beauty was always highly sought after. So over time, people would come up with very discreet ways to enhance their natural beauty using cosmetics. And it was actually during the time of ancient Greece that the concept of a natural makeup look was invented. And in the Byzantine Empire, beauty was so widely craved that they used all kinds of cosmetics to do things like dye their hair and even lighten their skin. But the products they used were extremely harmful to them because they contained things like lead, which is very unhealthy. And by the mid-1800s, makeup was once again looked down upon, and so it wasn't sold on any of the markets. So the people of that time, the women, would come up with their own secret recipes for cosmetics and secretly share them with one another so that they could be more beautiful. And throughout history, the makeup went through this back and forth. But that all changed in the 1920s when there was a change in people and they started wearing brighter makeup and makeup that was more vibrant and noticeable. And that change slowly spread throughout all of society until it blossomed into what makeup is today, which is an expression of who you are. So that was a brief history of makeup, and now I have a little tutorial on how I do my typical eye makeup. So when I'm doing my makeup, I always start with my foundation. That's just personally how I do it. And after that, I'll move on to my eyeshadow. And whenever I pick a color, I try to find a neutral shade of the eyeshadow that I'm doing, and I will put that over all of my lid. And then I'll go on to a medium shade that I'll put on the outer half of my lid. And then from there, I'll do my darkest shade, and I'll make sure to blend all three of those colors really well so it's a natural gradient. And then after I'm done with the colors, I move on to the eyeliner, which is probably the most difficult part and it takes the most amount of practice. But I start with the wing and I draw it up and then slowly, gradually bring it down into the inner corner of my eye. And after I'm done with my eyeliner, which usually takes the longest, I go on and I add a lighter shade on the innermost corner of my eye, and I add a little bit of glitter because why not? And last but not least, I do mascara because it's very important. I think it opens up the eye and just makes you seem more alert and awake. And then I finish up the rest of my makeup, do the finishing touches, and put setting spray on so that it doesn't go anywhere all day because I spend a lot of time on it. So to recap, that was a brief history on makeup. I talked about makeup throughout the ages, and I showed a brief tutorial on how I typically do my eye makeup. And I think that Bobbi Brown, the professional makeup artist and founder of Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, says it best when she says, "Confidence is everything, but a little makeup can't hurt."